Okay. We are just waiting for the House to start up. It is Wednesday. They are always slow. They don't even start sitting on Wednesdays until 2 p.m. So, House isn't even open yet. Let's see if there's anything we can watch in the meantime. Nothing really. There's no MP scrums or anything like that. No. Like, this would be the scrum. And as you can see, there is nobody. Too bad there's seemingly no committee of any kind today. Yeah, I know. I don't know why it's taking them 3 weeks to start up committees. That should have been done in the first week, in my opinion. But I get there's parliamentary procedure when a house starts up for a new parliament. I think that could have been done quicker, though. And so that means we probably won't see public accounts or OGO or the ethics committee or anything like that till next week. And the one tomorrow is Board of Internal Economy, and that one is always boring. There's never anything juicy in that. And on the first meeting, they're just going to go through housekeeping, select a chair, things like that. So I don't even think I'm going to cover that. But yeah, no media scrums. House is finally opening here, so we will get to this. Oh, they're thanking the pages. Oops, I gotta change my audio. Oh, it's them singing? So I'd love to listen to them sing, but somebody copyrighted O Canada on YouTube, and YouTube refuses to do anything about the fact that it's our national anthem and that it's public and can't be copyrighted. But so I can't listen to them sing ever in the house because it automatically gets copyright striked. It's absolutely insane. Hello, Dada. How's it going? So like I said, just for anybody popping in, Wednesdays are always a late start. They start at 2 p.m., so we will wait for members to enter the chamber and have our statements. About 15 minutes of statements before we get to question period. Mark Carney will be in the House, which I'm surprised. As many times as Carney said he wouldn't do question period, he's actually come a bit more than I thought. There's a special place in hell for whoever copyrighted O Canada. That just shows you how easier it is to copyright things than it is to actually rebuttal the copyright. Hello, Luca. How's it going?
Let the doors be opened. Que l'on ouvre les portes.
Hey, statements by members.
Statements by members. Déclaration de député. The Honourable Member for Yukon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to honour the exceptional achievements of all Yukon graduates from across the country. Félicitations à vous. Vous avez travaillé.
Congratulations, you worked incredibly hard and met all challenges with brio.
You've shown determination and readiness to contribute to our territory and to our nation. Your academic journey reflects not only your perseverance, but also the collective commitment of Yukon educators, families, and communities who invest in your future. Il faut vraiment tout un village.
You really deserve our admiration.
Starting
really
a new
quiet.
job, traveling the world, or pursuing something completely new, you are shaping the Yukon's future. Let's celebrate your achievements and all the possibilities ahead. Congratulations to all of you, Yukon grads.
The honourable member for Edmonton-Griesbach.
Mr. Speaker, I was Conservative MP in Edmonton-Griesbach from 2015 to 2021. Our team narrowly lost the 21 election, but we won big in 2025, and it's great to be back.
Hear, hear.
Politics is a team sport, and I'm grateful for all the people who helped us win. The nomination campaign itself took tremendous work. My team and I knocked on doors 7 days a week for a year and a half. Thanks to some of these nomination team members in no particular order. Thank you Paul Curry, Bert Shopey, Carol Kozlovkar, Stella McNeil, Cheryl McCracken, Daphne Price, Heather Markland, and Leo Wong. Thank you Rhoda Lepashik, Beanad Sabat, Jason Steele, Mark Hillman, Justin Thomas, Elizabeth Talbot-Jones, Pong Wu, and Patrick Stewart. Thanks to everyone who helped us win the main campaign. Thanks to my wife Claire Denman, who always works on my campaigns, and a huge thanks to Edmonton-Griesbach.
The Honourable Member for Rivière-des-Mille-Îles. Mr. Speaker, I recently had the pleasure of participating in the Saint-Eustache Kiwanis 785 Squadron ceremony and the Excel Gym Zodiac Cheerleading Club end-of-year show. What I admire about the cadets is the teaching of leadership, civic duty, respect, and discipline. Congratulations to the cadets and volunteers. I really enjoyed your ceremony. The Excel Gym is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year with more than 1,100 athletes aged 4 to 18. It was a very colorful show. Well done. To both organizations, thank you for your invitation. Congratulations to the volunteers whose dedication makes these events possible. Whether it's cadets, gymnastics, or other sports, these activities help children grow. A big shout out to the parents for supporting their children in these different disciplines. Thank you.
The honourable member for Simcoe Grey.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the great people of Simcoe Grey for again putting their trust in me to be their voice here in Ottawa. To my campaign team, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. With special thanks to Dwayne McNabb, my campaign manager, and Karen Gregg, my financial agent, who both filled such critical roles. Springtime is a busy time in Simcoe Grey with so many great events taking place. First, congratulations to all the 2025 high school graduates. To the Georgian Triangle Humane Society, I will see you this weekend at your Walk for Pets. On June 21st, I will be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Everett Legion. And later that night, I will attend a banquet in honor of the 1909 Collingwood Military Police Cadet Corps' 25th anniversary. And on June 28th, I will be part of the Blue Mountain Foundation's for the Arts 50th anniversary celebration. And in July, Mr. Speaker, I will be hosting the grand opening of my new Angus constituency office. Everyone here is welcome, even you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Hamilton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to shine a light on a team that holds a special place in my riding Hamilton Centre, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Formed in 1869, the Tiger Cats are one of North America's oldest sports teams, bringing home 15 Grey Cup championships and countless memories for Hamiltonians. Born in the shadows of Hamilton's two steel giants, DeFosco and Stelco, the Tiger Cats have battled on the same turf for nearly a century, on a field that echoes with the pride of Hamilton's working class. More than a football team, the Tiger Cats embody the toughness and resilience that define our city. This Saturday, June 14th, the Hamilton Tiger Cats kick off their season against the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. I wish them a fantastic season, and I'm proud to see the legacy of this great team and great city carry on. Go Tigers, go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Chatham-Kent Leamington.
Mr. Speaker, as this is my first substantive time and opportunity to rise in this Parliament, I want to thank the residents of Chatham-Kent Leamington for the honour once again.
Hear, hear.
By population, it is now the second largest riding in Canada, and summer in CKL is a special experience. Whether camping or boating on Lake St. Clair and Mitchell's Bay, or frequenting the beaches or birdwatching in Point Pelee National Park, or many other locations, Canada's South is truly inspiring. But one thing I heard at the doors during the election was that the beauty of my riding cannot mask the fact that parents are struggling to feed their families. They know that pretty beaches or pretty speeches cannot feed their kids. My constituents know both families and businesses have to manage their budgets, and they expect their government to do the same. They want to know how this government will pay for all of its massive spending promises and how it will affect their bottom line. Will the Liberals commit to transparency, and will they deliver a spring budget?
The honourable member for St. Catharines.
Mr. Speaker, in 1957, the Allenberg Women's Institute asked the Ontario government to establish a university in Niagara, recognizing the immense value that a local university could provide to our youth and community. Our community's conviction was so deep that members of the CAW Local 199 in Niagara made weekly contributions from their hard-earned paychecks to support the founding of what would become Brock University in 1964. They understood then what we continue to recognize today, that post-secondary institutions are cornerstones of building communities, economic growth, and supporting the development of a vibrant arts and cultural sector. With over 100,000 graduates, a commitment to industry-driven research, and economic programs designed to meet the needs of today's and tomorrow's workforce, Brock University continues to fulfill the vision of its early champions. Mr. Speaker, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to Brock University, its students, faculty, staff, and alumni as they celebrate their 60th anniversary. Congratulations.
The honourable member for Skeena-Bulkley Valley.
On June 11, 2008, Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper apologized to Indigenous people for Canada's past role in the residential school system. Residential schools were a component of a system that created the issues that we're still trying to resolve today. I spent years reading Heisel archives on how First Nations were treated and excluded conditionally from Canada's society and economy. I fully acknowledge our past. It is one of the biggest reasons why I strive to build a better future for Canada overall. This is what I believe reconciliation should represent, and we're closer than ever before, with First Nations charting their own destinies, and as individuals from all walks of life are presented with opportunities to build their own lives. In short, reconciliation should mean bringing back two groups together. As a newly elected Conservative MP from Skeena-Bulkley Valley, I want to thank the Conservatives for starting this new path of reconciliation 17 years ago. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Beauharnois-Salaberry-Soulanges-Huntingdon. Quebec has lost a great activist for Quebec independence, the French language, workers' right, and secularism. Henri Laberge passed away on May 2nd. On behalf of the Bloc, I'd like to offer my sincere condolences to his family and loved ones. He was involved in every battle, from the Rally for National Independence to the Bloc Québécois, where he served as chair of the Citizenship Committee. Staunch champion of the French language, he was chief of staff to Camille Lorrain during the drafting of Bill 101. Close to the working class, alongside Michel Charton and Fernand Daou, he was advisor to the Centrale de l'Enseignement du Québec. His 30 years of involvement in the Quebec secular movement helped modernize Quebec society. Henri Laberge, thank you so much for giving so much in your quest for an independent Quebec. Proud of its values, but also more humane. On the strength of your legacy, we will keep up the fight. Thank you, Henri.
The honourable member for Sydney-Glace Bay.
Mr. Speaker, today, June 11th, we observe Davis Day, a solemn occasion of remembrance and reflection in Nova Scotia. This year marks the 100th anniversary of Davis Day, making it an especially significant moment to honour the sacrifices of coal miners who lost their lives in the struggle for safer working conditions and fairer treatment. Davis Day commemorates the tragic death of William Davis, a miner who was killed during a 1925 strike while advocating for workers' rights and safety in Cape Breton Island. His courage and that of countless others, Mr. Speaker, laid the foundation for stronger labour protections that continue to support workers throughout Nova Scotia and across this great country. As we mark this important centennial, let us remember the courage and resilience of those who stood up for justice and dignity in the workplace. Their sacrifice is a powerful reminder of the importance of solidarity and our ongoing commitment to safe labour practices across this country.
Bravo. The honourable member for Calgary-McKnight.
Mr. Speaker, just yesterday the Auditor General confirmed this Liberal government cannot be trusted to deliver on housing. They promised to convert empty federal offices into 4,000 units of affordable housing, but have only managed to complete about 300 units so far. That's a total failure. And it turns out that almost half the units are being built in areas that do not even need them. Now, after 7 years and $300 million spent, the former housing minister got promotions, while housing has become even more unaffordable. Canadians need less broken promises and more homes built. The Conservative housing plan would quickly sell federal properties close to transit stations and jobs to get affordable homes built faster for Canadians in communities that need them. Thank you.
Member for Fleetwood, Port Kells.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise for the very first time to thank the people of Fleetwood, Port Kells and Canada for placing their trust in me. I came to Canada in 1970 as an immigrant from a small village in Punjab. With $8 in my pocket, I worked as a lumber piler, pursued my education, and supported my family with determination and journey that led me to 14 years as a counselor in Williams Lake. Canada gave me the opportunity to work hard, give back, and now I stand proudly in the House of Commons to represent my community. Mr. Speaker, I'm humbled to be here, not only as a member of Parliament, but as a proof that Canadian dream is alive and well. I want to express not...
The honourable member for Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, time after time, the Liberal government must be held to account for their mismanagement of Canadian dollars. Now we have even more damning evidence showing that the Liberals have lost control over their spending on consultants. GC Strategies, which is linked to the Arrive scam, got 106 contracts worth $93 million. The Auditor General has said that Liberals frequently disregarded procurement rules that promoted fairness, transparency, and value for Canadians. Consultants who didn't have experience, massive security clearances, and failures. Proof that little to no work was ever done. It is clear that the Liberals are out of touch with Canadians. They cannot be trusted with tax dollars, so how can anyone trust them to be in a position of power? Will the Liberals support a Conservative motion to have GC Strategies pay back the $64 million stolen from taxpayers?
The Honourable Member for Ottawa, Vanier, Gloucester.
With deep sadness and a heavy heart that I rise in the House today to mark the passing of a dear friend, AJ Plante. A respected entrepreneur and realtor, a community builder, a generous mentor, and a tireless force for good in the National Capital Region. AJ, serviteur de...
In the service of God, AJ dedicated his life to lifting others up, supporting local food banks and charities, helping families find homes, and always being there for his community. A big hockey fan, he was both coach and proud owner of the Gatineau Flames, providing countless young athletes with opportunities to grow and succeed.
De réussir. Alongside his wife Chantal, AJ gave back in countless ways, most recently through the ongoing support of organizations like the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre.
To Chantal, their children, and all those who knew and loved him, I offer my deepest sympathies.
Ottawa is better because of AJ. May he rest in peace.
The honourable member for Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General's investigation into the Liberals' purchase of the F-35 fighter jets is deeply concerning. Costs have ballooned by more than 50% and delivery is behind schedule, but it gets worse. The facilities to house the jets will not be completed until 2031. That is 3 years too late, and taxpayers will be left spending even more money on temporary hangars. The investigation also confirmed that we do not have enough pilots. How does this Liberal government expect the planes to fly without pilots? In fact, Mr. Speaker, the Liberals have flip-flopped. First, they opposed the F-35 program, then they supported it, then they sent it to review, and so on. After the lost Liberal decades, Canadians are feeling anxious in an increasingly dangerous world. Out-of-control costs, repeated construction delays, and lack of staff threaten to delay the replacement of the fighter jets. Now the Liberals want billions of dollars to waste. This government promised change, but it is more of the same. Under these Liberals, Canadians have never paid so much for getting so little in return, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Burlington.
I rise in this House to celebrate the Honourable Irwin Cotler, who's in Ottawa to be honoured by the Pearson Centre tonight for his lifetime of service to Canada and his work on human rights and justice. Former Member of Parliament and Cabinet Minister, an Emeritus Professor of Law at McGill, and an international human rights lawyer, and I'm very proud to call him a friend. As Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Irwin enacted same-sex marriage equality laws, appointed 2 women to the Supreme Court, tackled wrongful convictions, and launched anti-racism initiatives. In his so-called retirement, he founded and now actively chairs the Raoul Wallenberg Centre for Human Rights, which advocates for political prisoners, human rights, justice, and democracy. He also served as Canada's first special envoy on combating anti-Semitism. Irwin is today, as he has always been, a powerful advocate for the marginalized and a champion of progress and justice. I speak for all Canadians when I say thank you for your incredible and ongoing service, Mr. Cotler.
Come on, it's about time. Questions orales. There you go, Scheer.
Oral questions, questions orales. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
See, I just have amazing senses.
Breaking news. Conservatives will force a vote here in the House of Commons to get Canadians their money back for the ArriveCan scandal. The Auditor General slammed the Liberal government for giving GC Strategies, the top Arrive scam contractor, $64 million in contracts since they took office. $64 million to a 2-person IT company that did no IT work and is under RCMP investigation. Instead of empty words like, we accept the Auditor General's findings, how about the Prime Minister show some concrete action, vote for our motion, and get Canadians their money back?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this government is focused on best-in-class procurement. That is why we're put in place a new Department of Government Transformation. That is why we're putting in place a new Department of Defense Procurement to get taxpayer value for money, to build the strongest economy in the G7. That is how we'll get value for Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, he's settling into old Liberal habits of not being bothered by wasting taxpayers' money and funneling it to his friends.
Right.
And Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's trying to act like he's new to the job or he just got here. He was Justin Trudeau's senior economic advisor while these contracts were being handed out. And the Minister of Trade with the U.S., the Minister for Jobs, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs all have their fingerprints on this scandal, and he chose them to sit around his cabinet table. Why is it every time Liberals get caught in a corruption scandal, Liberal politicians get rewarded and taxpayers get the bill?
The Right Honourable Prime
Minister. Mr. Speaker, as I just said, this government is laser focused on best-in-class procurement. That is why we have a new Minister of Government Transformation. That is why we have a brave deputy who fought for this country, who flew fighter jets, who is the new Secretary of State for Defence Procurement. We're going to get best value for Canadians' dollars. We're going to grow this economy. Come join us.
The honourable member for Chilliwack, Hope. The General confirmed what we've been saying about the fraudsters behind the Arrive Scam app and the failure of this Liberal government to protect taxpayers. GC Strategies was an IT firm that didn't do IT, didn't follow procurement rules, didn't provide value for money, didn't have valid security clearances. What they do have is 64 million ill-gotten tax dollars in the bank, and this Liberal government let it all happen. When so many Canadians are struggling to make ends meet, why is this government making no effort to get those wasted tax dollars back?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to follow details, including important details such as there was just an election. Canada's new government was elected to focus on getting best value for Canadian taxpayer dollars and building the strongest economy in the G7. That's exactly what we're doing. We're focused on it.
The honourable member for Chilliwack, Hope. They're not holding GC Strategies accountable. They're letting them keep the cash. The Auditor General confirmed that current Liberal ministers failed Canadians in this matter. They failed to protect tax dollars. They failed to check the qualifications of those doing the work. In half the contracts, they failed to even verify that work was done. Unbelievably, the Trudeau ministers responsible for Arrive Scam got promoted and have now been put in charge of critical Canada-US foreign affairs and jobs files. Why did the Prime Minister reward these failed Trudeau Liberals instead of holding them accountable for their incompetence?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this government, Canada's new government, is focused on best value for taxpayers' dollars. Yes. We are running a process to review our programs. We are running a process to focus on results for Canadians, not dollars in. We are running a process to integrate technology. We are running a process to get best value for the largest increase in defence spending in precedent, making up for the failures of the members opposite.
Well done.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Well, thanks to a Conservative motion, the Auditor General has shed some light on the ArriveCan scandal, and what she found is, well, it's not great, Mr. Speaker. GC Strategies, a company, two people in a basement that doesn't know anything about IT, got $64 million for doing nothing. The report doesn't know who did the work, doesn't know what was done, doesn't know if the people who did anything were even qualified to do it. Conservatives are going to go further now. We're tabling a motion calling on Canadians to be reimbursed. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister vote for our motion to reimburse Canadians after the incompetence of his ministers? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, Canada's new government is going to focus on best-in-class procurement. That's why we have a new Minister of Government Transformation, a new department for procurement for defence. And we are seeing the biggest increase in defence spending to defend our country in our history. The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. He says that he's new, and maybe he doesn't know this, but listen, I'll say it quietly between him and me. The ministers who authorized this spending are members of his cabinet. They weren't banned, as the government transformation minister said yesterday. They were promoted. And that's the truth, Mr. Speaker. This House has already called for the reimbursement of the money paid to GC Strategies, but unfortunately, we still haven't seen that money come back. We're talking about $64 million. That comes from taxes paid by Canadians. The Liberal government abused Canadians' trust. Our motion is clear. Will the Prime Minister vote to protect his ministers, or will he vote for Canadians to be paid back? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I will be focused every day, every hour, on best-in-class procurement for Canadians. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Yesterday, the member for Mirabel asked the Minister of Finance if, and I quote, the carbon tax rebate checks, which were sent in the middle of the election to 8 provinces, were paid out without the tax having been collected. The minister replied, no. Mr. Speaker, my question to the Prime Minister, were the carbon tax rebate checks that were sent out during the election paid out without the tax that would have funded them having been collected? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the last carbon tax rebate was paid out for a transition period for millions of Canadian families. Okay? We decided, and all members agree, that the carbon tax, the consumer carbon tax, should be cancelled. There are many families outside of Quebec and outside of British Columbia who needed that for a transition period. That's the reason. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Votes in the House of Commons decide what we agree with or don't, Mr. Speaker. During the election campaign, this was a bit under the radar, but not now, and it's becoming important in Quebec. The truth is that the government, by refusing to pay back Quebecers, is paying back the carbon tax to those who didn't pay it, and it's not paying it back to those who are paying for it. The Prime Minister is better than that in economics and in accounting, so will he pay back Quebecers? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the provinces and Quebec had the choice to impose their own system for carbon pricing. Mr. Speaker, I and we respect the jurisdiction of Quebec. The Right on the member for Belleuil-Chambly. Well, we could make a plaque with that statement there, Mr. Speaker. In summary, the Prime Minister cancelled the carbon tax. He sent $4 billion out to Canadians, but nothing to Quebecers. And that was to pay back a tax that they didn't pay. Those $4 billion are not linked to any revenue, which would justify that money being paid back. So those $4 billion going directly into the deficit, like the $6 billion in tax cuts, without a budget, without an economic update. Will the Prime Minister fix this obvious injustice against the people of Quebec? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, there are different systems. There are different transitions. It's not unjust, it's coherent.
The Honourable Member for Airdrie Cochrane.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Auditor General released a scathing report about the Liberal government's mismanagement of the F-35 contract. They flipped, they flopped, and then they flipped again. And now they're trying to hide the real costs of their incompetence. How can the men and women of the armed forces trust that the Prime Minister will actually deliver on his defence promises when it's clear that his own ministers are willing to mislead Canadians when it comes to defence?
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We thank the Auditor General once again for her work. In any procurement project of this size, as this member knows, it's normal for costs to change and vary over time, especially with the challenges encountered during the pandemic, like supply chain disruptions, Mr. Speaker, and inflation. And that's why National Defence is working hand in hand with industry now to make sure we get good value for Canadians. Mr. Speaker, we're making a generational investment in the Air Force, and we're going to get this right.
Honourable Member for Airdrie Cochrane.
This was anything but normal. This is them trying to hide their own incompetence. They misled Canadians by not factoring in currency exchanges, inflation, and project delays to pretend that they were saving costs, when in fact the F-35s were 50% over budget because of their incompetence. And worse yet, Trudeau's minister responsible for this creative accounting was promoted by the current Prime Minister. Isn't it true that the Liberals' so-called new defence spending is actually just the cost they were hiding from Canadians all along?
The Minister of National Defence.
Mr. Speaker, once again, I'm going to thank the Auditor General for her work and her recommendations, many of which we're acting upon already. National Defence is committed to being open and transparent, and it will keep Canadians updated every step of the way without compromising operational security. National Defence is keeping a close eye on costs and working hand in hand with industry to make sure we get the best value for Canadians. Mr. Speaker, we're focused here. Focused on supporting our top Canadian aviators as they work to keep Canada safe.
The honourable member for Portage Lisgar.
The Auditor General confirmed what Canadians already knew. The Liberals can't run a lemonade stand, let alone the government. They funneled tens of millions of dollars to their friends at GC Strategies, with nearly half of the contracts delivering little to no results. Their federal lands housing initiative, well, after 7 years, they haven't even delivered 8% of what they promised they would. The F-35 program, it's 50% over budget and plagued with construction delays and staffing shortages. So here's a simple question. Why is it that Liberals can never deliver any project on time or on budget?
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to be clear, we will always protect the integrity of our procurement process. We've been elected on a mandate to deliver best value for Canadians as we embark on an ambitious journey for this country. I'm hoping Conservatives will get on board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Vaughan Woodbridge.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Auditor General revealed that Canadians are paying more and getting less. The Liberals have poured $300 million into a housing program and missed their targets by 97%. And the F-35 jets, nearly $30 billion. 50% over budget. Wow. No jets flying, no pilots ready, and no facilities built. To top it off, the fraudulent Arrive scam contractor GC Strategies has siphoned $64 million from Canadian taxpayers. If Liberals can't be trusted to manage any of these projects, how can Canadians trust them to balance a budget?
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me be absolutely clear. We will never tolerate misconduct from our suppliers or their subcontractors. We will always hold bad actors to account so that we deliver the best value for Canadians. This is exactly what we are doing for Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General reconfirmed what we already know. The Liberals are bad with Canadians' money. On housing, they promised to build 4,000 units in 6 years, but the real number, a pathetic 309. And the F-35 budget has exploded by $14 billion, and there's no pilots to fly them. Worst of all, the Liberals funneled $64 million to Arrive scam contractors, just two guys working from their basement, with no proof they did any real work. Same Trudeau ministers, same failures, same old Liberals. Why did this Prime Minister promote the very ministers responsible for these scandals into his cabinet?
The Honourable Minister for Government Transformation.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Auditor General for her work. I had a very good conversation with her concerning workspaces, particularly what was in her report yesterday, and I would note that she specifies that we are on track to meet our goals for affordable housing on federal lands. It's good news for Canadians. The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals aren't capable of looking ahead. They are indifferent to heavy spending. After 10 years of unexpected and avoidable delays, it's now really quite possible that Canada won't have any operational fighter jets. We know that our F-18s will come to the end of their lives in 2032, and we still don't know when the F-35s will be delivered. How is it that the Liberals can spend without ever delivering the goods? The Honourable Minister of National Defence. Mr. Speaker, we once again thank the Auditor General for her work. In a procurement process like this, it's normal that costs change over time, particularly with all the challenges that we have faced with the pandemic, inflation, and the member is aware of that. National Defence is keeping a close eye on costs and is working hand in hand with industry to make sure that Canadians will get their money's worth. We are making the biggest investments in over 30 years in the Royal Canadian Air Force. The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, our industry, our businesses, and our workers in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean are suffering from the American tariffs on steel and aluminum, which are now at 50%. Hundreds of jobs in Saguenay are threatened, and yet I'll remind you that the Prime Minister was elected promising Canadians that he would be elbows up to Mr. Trump. He was supposed to bring in $20 billion in counter tariffs. But now we've learned that China has signed an agreement with the Americans. How is it that China has an agreement before Canada? The Honourable Minister of Industry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm obviously very aware of the situation, and the Prime Minister and Cabinet are aware of the situation, that there are tariffs that have been imposed. They're illegal, unjustified, and unacceptable, these 50% tariffs against the aluminum workers in my colleague's riding and against steel workers in the ridings of many colleagues here, and that is why we are putting in place very strong counter-tariffs and countermeasures. We are also in contact with industry, with the unions, and we will continue to fight to get those tariffs taken off. The honourable member from Mirabel.
That's not
Mr. Speaker, 6 days before the election, the Prime Minister handed out checks paid for by Quebecers to almost everyone in Canada except Quebecers. The National Assembly of Quebec is unanimous. The Liberals need to pay us back. Quebecers, who are also having a hard time with the cost of living crisis, shouldn't be giving fake carbon rebate gifts of $450 to families in Alberta or $300 to Ontarians. The Liberals owe us $814 million. If not, it's theft. Are they going to keep stealing, or are they going to pay us back? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And the Bloc Québécois colleague knows that I hold him in high regard, but I think he's going a little bit too far today, as he knows very well. Quebec's system is very different from the federal system. Right now, the cost per ton is $59 in Quebec, while it was $85 in Canada. For years, Quebecers paid half of what the rest of Canadians paid in carbon prices. We never hear that from the Bloc, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member from Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, the Minister, who I hold in high regard, knows that Canadians paid $0 in any carbon taxes when they got their checks. The Prime Minister himself has confirmed that he cut the carbon tax on April 1st, but he still sent out the quarterly check for April to June at the end of the month. So if the check wasn't paid for with the carbon tax, well, who paid for it? Well, the Liberal Party has called this a fiscal bridge. We call that a gift to Canadians paid for out of the pockets of Quebecers. Will the Liberals pay back the $814 million that they owe to Quebec? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Identity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I sincerely think we're comparing apples with oranges here. Quebec's system works on a cap and trade system. It's not a pricing system, while the federal system was a pricing system that set a price per ton, and that's how the signal was sent to the market and to consumers to reduce their emissions. They're two systems that were completely different. The federal government recognized Quebec's leadership in this area, and we recognize that Quebec's system was equivalent to the federal system for a number of years, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Foothills.
The Prime Minister said, I will be judged by prices at the grocery store shelf. Well, judgment has been rendered, and by his own metrics, the Prime Minister has failed. For the third month in a row, food prices have skyrocketed. Apples, oranges, rice, chicken, beef, all up by more than 20%. And the Prime Minister's response is to pour more fuel on the inflationary fire with $500 billion in new spending. That's more than Trudeau. Will this Liberal minority government listen to the majority of this House, put a budget on that table so Canadians could put food on theirs?
Right on.
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
I mean, first of all, Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that over 22 million Canadians are receiving a tax credit as we speak, and I certainly hope that the Conservative member over there realizes this is exactly what Canadians called for in the election, targeted support that will help them in these times. I will also point out, Mr. Speaker, that the kind of spending they're talking about are the things that they've been advocating for years. They should be happy that we're investing in our armed forces. For example, Mr. Speaker, are they saying that Canadian armed forces don't deserve a raise?
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
Canadians are struggling to put food on the table now, and it's because of the Liberals' inflationary spending. Now, we all knew that these were going to be the same old tax and spend Liberals, but we had no idea this Prime Minister was going to be worse. He promised Canadians he would cap increased spending at 2%. He has gone over 8%. That is putting Canadians in trouble, and they are the ones paying the price. We now have the highest food inflation in the G7. Will this Prime Minister table a budget, end his inflationary spending, so Canadians can afford to feed their families?
Yes. Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, every step of the way as we've worked to make sure that Canadians' costs go down, that Canadians have more powerful paychecks. In fact, something that I think the Conservatives have said time and again, they've actually voted against, Mr. Speaker, whether it's things like reducing the cost of childcare or ensuring school food programs or increasing Canada Child benefits, by the way, pegged to inflation so that families have what they need as they're raising their children. These Conservatives have voted against it. So they should put their money where their mouth is, Mr. Speaker, and support comprehensive policy that supports families.
The honourable member for Windsor West.
Mr. Speaker, after years of Liberal inflationary spending, Windsor families are struggling to keep up. Rent is unaffordable, grocery prices are going through the roof. Many parents are skipping meals so their kids can eat. The Prime Minister says he wants to be judged by what Canadians pay at the grocery store. I can assure you that the Prime Minister will be judged harshly, as Canadians will be paying more than $800 this year. On food alone, Mr. Speaker, it shouldn't be this hard to feed your family in Canada. Will the Liberal government table a budget this spring that actually reverses its inflationary policies?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians elected a new government to build a strong Canada and to protect programs that serve families. Families are strong when kids are healthy. Our National School Meal Program is delivering meals to hundreds of thousands of kids this year. It saves parents up to $800 per year. We are committed to making this permanent. We made this commitment in the campaign, and I call on the member opposite to support us.
Honourable member for Sudbury East, Manitoulin Nickel Belt.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said he wants to be held to account for what Canadians are paying at the grocery store. So let's do just that. Families in Northern Ontario are struggling because of rising prices. Since the start of 2025, grocery prices in Canada have increased rapidly. The Prime Minister promised to cap government spending at 2%. Instead, he's increasing it by 8%. Will the Liberals table a budget that reverses their inflationary policies so Canadians can afford to put food on the table?
The Honourable Secretary of State for the Canada Revenue Agency and Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, we just met with the owners of Canada in the last election and clearly laid out our plan to cut taxes, to build homes, to build one Canadian economy, and to protect Americans against Canadians against tariffs. Mr. Speaker, elections are job interviews, and Canadians resoundingly hired our Prime Minister. They fired the former member from Carleton. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Mr. Speaker, Liberals clearly get excited when they're talking about their own jobs, but 500,000 unemployed students this summer are concerned about theirs. CBC is reporting that Canada faces the worst youth unemployment crisis in decades. Students need jobs to pay for their education and gain vital experience and skills. Liberal inflationary spending and immigration failures are creating a generational unemployment crisis, approaching 500,000 unemployed students. How many more young Canadians need to go unemployed before Liberals reverse course?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Listen, I've got great news for youth this summer. Over 6,000 more jobs through Canada Summer Jobs this summer. That's great news for all of our constituents. Mr. Speaker, Canada Summer Jobs is an important program to help young people get the skills and the experience they need for the next steps in their career. That's over 76,000 jobs this summer, and we certainly look forward to hearing about the youth's experience all across our country.
The honourable member for Sault Ste. Marie Algoma.
Speaker, members of Canada's Buildings Trades Unions are here in Ottawa this week. They represent thousands and thousands of workers that are building Canada strong. Can the Secretary of State for Labour please update this House what this government is doing to support this very, very important construction workers and unionized labour across this great country? Thank you.
The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Honourable Member for the Sioux for the question and join him in welcoming some of the most important unions and skilled trades to Ottawa today. These unions represent over 1 million good-paying jobs, and our One Canadian Economy plan will fast-track major projects so that we can build across this country brick by brick with good Canadian steel and aluminum. Mr. Speaker, it's time to build big, build bold, and build now. Canada's building trades will get it done, and this government will always have their backs.
The honourable member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Yesterday, the AG delivered a damning report that exposed the truth. After 10 years of this Liberal government's housing promises, only 309 homes have been built under the Federal Lands Initiative. They set a target of 4,000, and what Canadians got was smoke and mirrors. Inflated numbers, misleading reporting, and government more focused on press releases than people. Can the minister explain how, after a decade of delays, this scandal has left single moms and young families still without a place to call home?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Those units remain under development. They will be developed. They will be built. Those homes will be delivered as promised. And, Mr. Speaker, we would appreciate the support from the other members of the House for all of these housing initiatives going forward, of which we have many. We have the most robust housing agenda in the history of this House. We expect robust support for that plan.
We do, Gregor.
Honourable member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
According to yesterday's AG report, this government built nearly 40% of its so-called affordable homes in the wrong places. You can't make this up. And here's the truly shocking thing. They didn't base affordable on income, not on what people actually earn. Instead, they used current market rent in the middle of a housing crisis. That means low-income families, seniors and newcomers can't even afford the homes that were supposed to help them. After 10 years of failure, will the minister admit that this plan has completely failed the people who need it most?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'll caution the member opposite. There are no wrong places to build housing in Canada.
Whoa, good point.
We are focused on building housing across this country. We are focused on building affordable housing across this country. The reason there are new ministers here, like myself, is for our new plan to deliver affordable housing all across Canada and communities that need it.
Excellent answer.
The Honourable Member for Kenora, Kiiwetinoong.
The Liberals promised to sell surplus government properties to build 4,000 housing units by 2028, but a scathing report from the Auditor General has showed that after 5 years they have only built 309 of those units, Mr. Speaker. Canadians are facing a housing crisis, and this government is sitting on 5.9 million square feet of space. So when will the Liberals finally fulfill their promise to Canadians and get more homes to the market?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, we are going to deliver the homes that are put forward in that plan. We are also going to use lands across Canada to build more affordable housing. Our goal is to roll out more affordable housing than this country's ever seen before in these years ahead. And we expect the support of the members opposite. This is going to be a partnership across Canada on federal lands with our community partners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You know what I'd love to ask? What's the number of
Kiiwetinoong.
federal crown land that you're going to
Speaker,
free up? Just
TD
the number.
Bank has cast doubt on those Liberal goals, saying that housing starts are actually going to decline next year rather than increase as the minister would have us believe. But the Auditor General report also found that the Liberals are failing to meet targets, failing to collect relevant data, and failing to provide detailed, transparent reports. This is, on all accounts, a complete failure, Mr. Speaker. Even their own Liberal member from Ottawa Centre has said that the government is not doing enough on housing, yet all of the ministers that are responsible for this crisis are still in Cabinet. Why?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are focused now in this new government on delivering housing.
That's right.
We are going to deliver the housing that Canadians elected us to deliver. We ran on the commitment to have the most aggressive housing plan that the country's ever seen, and we are going to deliver on that plan, Mr. Speaker.
We sure are. Good answer.
Honourable.
The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, the government announced that it would build 4,000 affordable housing units by converting federal land and buildings. 309 units have been delivered since. That's less than 50 a year. Our local cooperative has started a new affordable housing project to help companies to attract and house workers. 24 housing units in Charlevoix in 1 year, 50 in Canada as a whole. Is the government better at building a bureaucracy than houses? The Honourable Minister for Government Transformation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I had a very good discussion with the Auditor General. We accept her recommendations. She clearly says in the report that we are on track to meeting our affordable housing goals. I would like to commend the Honourable Member for his election, but when his leader was Housing Minister, only 6 units were built, and that was after 10 decades upon decades of Conservative disengagement from housing. So we have nothing to learn from the Conservatives when it comes to housing, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson, Nicola.
1,000 pounds. The amount of cocaine that was seized by Peel Police, according to media reports just yesterday. This public safety minister previously said that the bail system was sound, and yet 6 of the 9 of those arrested are already on bail. Given what we see and hear when it comes to bail, does this public safety minister still think that the bail system is sound?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let me first of all thank the work of Peel Regional Police and also acknowledge the incredible work of the Chief of Police for the City of Toronto, who's in Ottawa today. Chief Demkew is an incredible leader who has been working in the front lines along with members of Peel and across law enforcement across Canada to ensure that drugs are off our streets. And this is a moment for us to ensure that we support them and we continue to acknowledge the incredible work of our police services.
The Honourable Member for Markham Unionville.
Mr. Speaker, Peel Region had the single largest drug bust in their history yesterday, with 1,000 pounds of cocaine worth $47 million. This would be a cause for celebration if 6 out of the 9 that were arrested are not already out on bail. Liberal laws like the Bills C5 and C75 are the root cause of this madness. These liberal laws put repeat criminals back into our communities. Mr. Speaker, will the Liberals reverse their soft on crime policies to keep criminals behind bars?
The Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, once again, I think it's important to recognize the incredible collaboration of the Peel Regional Police, as well as other police services in having one of the greatest drug busts in Canadian history. Their work will continue. It will continue with the support of the federal government, with our agencies who are working in tandem to ensure that drugs are off our streets.
The Honourable Member for Brampton West.
Mr. Speaker, under this Liberal government, crime is at its peak and cities like Brampton's are being hit hard. The Peel Police had the single largest drug bust in their history, but 6 out of 9 drug dealers are out on bail. Gun crime is up 116%. Gang homicide is up 78%. The only solution to control the crime wave is to repeal soft on crime, liberal laws C5 and C75 and put repeat violent offenders in jail. Will this Prime Minister reverse liberal soft on crime laws so drug dealers like this get jail, not bail?
Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to acknowledge the work of Peel Regional Police as well as their colleagues in different police services who work together to ensure that drugs are off our streets. This matter is going through the courts, and I know that our justice system is strong. We will ensure that there will be continued work, collaborative work within police services so that we can actually constructively get drugs off our streets.
6 of them were out on bail.
Honourable Member for Portneuf-Jacques-Cartier. Mr. Speaker, today the Journal de Montréal lets us know that there has been an average increase of more than 28% in crimes against persons. Even worse, more than 20% of these crimes are domestic in nature. For the last 10 years, the Liberals have lost control. Mr. Speaker, this Liberal government must act very quickly to protect the lives of Canadians. When will the Liberals take the necessary measures to punish crime and finally protect victims?
States for combating crime.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This new government is focused on making sure that victims are put first. Previously, bail reform had been brought in to make it harder for perpetrators of domestic violence to be released. We're going to continue doing the important work that's needed to make laws stricter and make sure that bail is tougher to get. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Prescott Russell Cumberland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Canadian Economic Unity Act will remove federal barriers to international trade and labour mobility and advance the completion of projects of national interest that are essential to stimulating our country's productivity growth, developing its energy sector and ensuring its security. Can the Minister responsible for Industry tell us more about the bill that was tabled last week? The Honourable Minister for Industry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank my colleague for her question and for having been elected. Canadians elected us with a clear mandate to be bold and to be ambitious. That includes the important step of building the strongest G7 economy, and that is a reason for which we have moved forward with this very important bill to build one Canadian economy rather than having 13 different economies. So I hope that opposition parties will answer the call of Canadians and allow us to accelerate the adoption of this bill in the national interest.
Honourable member for Long Range Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, the oil and gas industry is critical to Newfoundland and Labrador, making up 25% of our GDP and 41% of our exports. Our province has targets to double oil and gas production and create thousands of good-paying jobs. But energy companies have made it clear they won't invest while the Liberals' No New Pipelines Law, Bill C-69, the oil and gas production cap, and the punishing industrial carbon tax remain on the books. Does the Prime Minister not realize no one will build a pipeline under his anti-energy laws? Or is that the plan, to keep Canadian oil and gas in the ground?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, as the honourable member knows, we presented the One Canadian Economy Bill to rapidly advance projects of national interest and build one Canadian economy, not 13. This bill will grow the economy and support our sovereignty to ensure we build the strongest economy in the G7. Canada's new government will work with provinces, territories, and Indigenous partners and get projects built so Canada will be an energy superpower.
Well done. The honourable member for Edmonton South East.
10 years of Liberal anti-energy laws have stopped pipelines of getting built. Energy companies won't build unless those Liberal laws are gone. To build pipelines, the Liberals need to repeal the suite of anti-energy laws. C-69, no new pipeline law. C-48, the shipping ban, the job-killing oil and gas production cap, and the laws like industrial carbon tax. Is that the Prime Minister's plan to keep our oil and gas in the ground?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Canada's new government will get projects built, create high-paying jobs, and bring prosperity to Canadians. That's why we presented the One Canadian Economy Bill, which will rapidly advance projects of national interest. If my Conservative colleagues want to get projects built, they should support the bill.
Yeah. Good answer. The honourable member for Cowichan, Malahat, Langford.
Mr. Speaker, BC Ferries just announced that they will purchase 4 new full-sized ferries from a Chinese state-owned company rather than from a proven Canadian shipbuilder such as Seaspan in North Vancouver. Yet the Liberals are set to hand over $30 million to BC Ferries, while BC Ferries hands over critical jobs, investment in industry to China. Will the Liberals attach a common-sense condition of buying Canadian-built ships to BC Ferries in order to receive their $30 million subsidy?
Great.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Internal Trade.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member opposite for that important question. I absolutely share his concern when it comes to government procurement at all levels. Now is a time when we need to support Canadian workers and Canadian industries, and we need to work closely with our allies and trade partners. That project, Mr. Speaker, was not a federal government project.
Davenport.
Mr. Speaker, defending Canadians is one of our government's top priorities. Given the increasingly volatile global landscape, it is vital that our Canadian armed forces are properly equipped to meet the challenges we ask them to face. It is urgent that we take immediate action to strengthen our armed forces and support those that are serving our country. Can the Secretary of State for Defence Procurement update us on the government's plans to meet our NATO commitments and ensure we're doing everything possible to protect our country?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Defence Procurement.
Mr. Speaker, since this is the first time on my feet in the 45th, I'd like to thank the good people of Kelowna, BC for placing their trust and confidence in me and electing me to this House for the second time. Speaker, yesterday the Prime Minister confirmed that Canada will meet its NATO 2% targets this fiscal year, 5 years ahead of schedule, with an additional investment of $9.3 billion. We're accelerating procurement, modernizing capabilities, and ensuring the troops have the tools and equipment they need to protect Canada and Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Acadie-Annapolis.
Mr. Speaker, the economy of Acadie-Annapolis and rural Nova Scotia relies heavily on a strong lobster fishery. Yet this past season went from bad to worse. According to a Global News report on May 2nd, some harvesters in southwest Nova Scotia had to give up on their season because they could not fish profitably. No lobsters and no price. This is unacceptable. Will the Minister of Fisheries finally listen to commercial fishers where her predecessors failed to act, take unregulated and unreported fishing seriously, and implement immediate measures to protect our lobster stocks before it's too late?
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm very pleased to say that I was in Nova Scotia the last couple of weeks. I met with harvesters, I met with lobster fishers, and I want to assure the member opposite that I will continue to do this work. We need to ensure that we have balanced fisheries, and we need to ensure that we support authorized fishing. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Vancouver East.
The so-called Stronger Borders Act make Harper's Bill C-51 look like child's play. Bill C-2 is a sweeping attack on Canadian civil liberties. The RCMP and CSIS can make information demands from internet providers, banks, doctors, landlords, even therapists without judicial oversight. This isn't about border security. It's government overreach and big brother tactics, plain and simple. It's a violation of our privacy, and it will be challenged in court. Will the Prime Minister do the right thing, respect the Charter, and withdraw this dangerous bill?
Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, the Strong Borders Act will help keep Canadians safe. The bill will go after transnational child sex offenders via information sharing with our international policing partners, give law enforcement the tools they need, choke off organized crime's illegal profits with a crackdown on money laundering, grant our border officers provision to search export containers, and stop auto theft rings, Mr. Speaker. We will do this while ensuring the charter rights of Canadians, as well as due process, and make sure that our civil liberties and privacy rights are protected.
This brings question period to an end.
45 more minutes. 3:07 on
It being 3:07, the House will now proceed to the taking of the deferred recorded division on the amendment to the motion of Ms. Normandin relating to the business of supply.
Convoquer les députés.
Call in the members.
Yeah, C2 is pretty bad. There's some stuff in there that's way overreaching, and even if it does pass in Parliament, it's going to be challenged in Supreme Courts, 100%. Oh, this is a Quebec amendment, they want $800 million for. I mean, they already get the most equalization payments, but they want more money because they feel like they have their own carbon rebate program, and the federal government has its own carbon tax, and so Quebec has its own backstop, but everybody in Canada still got money out of the carbon tax, but Quebec has even said many times, the Bloc MPs have said many times, they don't pay into that. They have their own backstop. So I guess their argument is that federal income taxes be taken and given to other provinces when they have their own program. It's like, if you don't want to go along with the federal program, which nobody agrees with, everybody hates the carbon tax, whether it's on industrial or whether it's on consumers, everybody hates it. If you have your own carbon tax program in place, you're still pro-carbon tax. It's always a Bloc thing to say, we want more money, give us more money. Wah. It's really annoying.
Carbon rebate payments that Quebecers did not receive.
You've never received the carbon rebate payments.
Individuals in the listed provinces received the rebate check on April 22nd, 2025 during the federal general election. 4. The rebate was paid for with government funds and therefore by all taxpayers, including those from Quebec. The House called on the government to pay Quebec without conditions an amount equivalent to its contribution to the $3.7 billion in spending, estimated at $814 million. Mr. Fortin, seconded by Mr. Garon, moved the following amendment, that the motion be amended by adding A, after the words including those from Quebec, the words and from British Columbia. B, after the words to pay Quebec, the words and British Columbia. And C, the following for Quebec and $513 million for British Columbia.
La période de 10 minutes.
The 10-minute period for members voting electronically has started, and the House will now proceed to the vote for members participating in person. All those in favor of the motion will please rise.
Madame Normandin.
Madame Normandin.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Brunel-Duceppe.
Monsieur Brunel-Duceppe.
Monsieur Simard.
Monsieur Simard.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Deschaines.
Monsieur Deschaines.
Madame Gill, Côte-Nord, Kawawachikamach, Nitassinan.
Madame Gill, Côte-Nord, Kawawachikamach, Nitassine.
Monsieur Bonin.
Monsieur Bonin.
Monsieur Savard-Tremblay.
Monsieur Savard-Tremblay.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Larouche.
Madame de Bellefeuille.
Madame de Bellefeuille.
Madame Gaudreau.
Madame Gaudreau.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Barcelo-Duval.
Monsieur Barcelo-Duval.
Monsieur Blanchette-Jonca.
Monsieur Blanchette-Jonca.
Monsieur Lemire.
Monsieur Lemire.
Que tous ceux qui s'opposent.
All those opposed to the motion, to the amendment, will please rise.
Mr. Carney.
Mr. Carney.
Madame Diab.
Madame Diab.
Mr. MacDonald-Malpeck.
Mr. MacDonald-Malpeck.
Mr. McGuinty.
Mr. McGuinty.
Monsieur Lightbound.
Monsieur Lightbound.
Mr. Robertson.
Mr. Robertson.
Ms. Freeland.
Ms. Freeland.
Madame Joly.
Madame Joly.
Monsieur McKinnon-Gatineau.
Yeah, this is not passing. This is an overwhelming no.
Mr. Hodgson.
Mr. Hodgson.
Ms. Thompson.
Miss Thompson.
Mr. Ananda Sangari.
Mr. Ananda Sangari.
Ms. Haidu.
Miss Haidu.
Madame Michel.
Madame Michel.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Mr. Fraser.
Mr. Fraser.
Mr. Sidhu Brampton East.
Mr. Sidhu Brampton East.
Ms. Olszewski.
Ms. Olszewski. Valdez.
Mrs. Valdez.
Mrs. Valdez.
Monsieur Duclos.
Monsieur Duclos.
Mr. Hussain.
Mr. Hussain.
Ms. Gould.
Ms. Gould.
Madame Petitpas-Taylor.
Madame Petitpas-Taylor.
Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Ms. Chagger.
Ms. Chagger.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Fragascatos.
Mr. Fragascatos.
Mr. Fuhr.
Mr. Fuhr.
Mr. Van Couverden.
Mr. Van Couverden.
Madame Provost.
Madame Provost.
Ms. Sahota.
Ms. Sahota.
Mr. Belanger, Desnathay, Mississippi Churchill River.
Mr. Belanger, Desnathay, Mississippi Churchill River.
Ms. McKnight.
Mrs. McKnight.
Ms. Chartrand.
Ms. Chartrand.
Mr. Garrettson.
Mr. Garrettson.
Ms. Anand.
Ms. Anand.
Ms. Alty.
Ms. Alty.
Madame Galmasti.
Ms. Galmasti.
Mr. Sarai.
Mr. Sarai.
Ms. McLean, Esquimalt Saanich Suk.
Ms. McLean, Esquimalt Saanich Suk.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Zericelli.
Mr. Zericelli.
Madame Latanzio.
Ms. Latanzio.
Mr. Housefather.
Mr. Housefather.
Mr. Noor Mohammed.
Mr. Noor Mohammed.
Madame Ménard.
Madame Menard.
Monsieur Miller.
Monsieur Miller.
Ms. Jazik.
Ms. Jazik.
Ms. Scrow.
Ms. Scrow.
Mr. Dogood.
Mr. Dogood.
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Madame Chatel.
Madame Chatel.
Mrs. Romanado.
Mrs. Romanado.
Mr. Kellaway.
Mr. Kellaway.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Assassi.
Mr. Assassi.
Monsieur Letao.
Mr. Letao.
Mr. Bardisi.
Mr. Bardisi.
Madame Kayabaga.
Madame Kayabaga.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Madame Brière.
Madame Brière.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant.
Monsieur Gay.
Monsieur Gay.
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Hogan.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Madame Koutrakis.
Madame Koutrakis.
Ms. Chi.
Ms. Chi.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Biddle.
Ms. Dillon.
Ms. Dillon.
Ms. Zarowitz.
Ms. Zarowitz.
Monsieur El Khoury.
Monsieur El Khoury.
Monsieur Fergus.
Monsieur Fergus.
Mr. Fonseca.
Mr. Fonseca.
Monsieur Yakano.
Monsieur Yakano.
Monsieur Lauzon.
Monsieur Lauzon.
Mr. Maloney.
Mr. Maloney.
Ms. Suds.
Ms. Suds.
Madame Desrochers.
Madame Desrochers.
Ms. McKelvey.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Hanley.
Mr. Hanley.
Madame Rochefort.
Madame Rochefort.
Mr. Casey.
Mr. Casey.
Madame Bendayan.
Madame Bendayan.
Madame Fortier.
Madame Fortier.
Mr. Oliphant.
Mr. Oliphant.
Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Clausen.
Mr. Clausen.
Madame Lavac.
Madame Lavac.
Ms. Church.
Ms. Church.
Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Morrissey.
Ms. Sidhu Brampton South.
Ms. Cedar Brampton South.
Ms. Vandenbeld.
Ms. Vandenbeld.
Mrs. Zaid.
Mrs. Zaid.
Madame Lambropoulos.
Madame Lambropoulos.
Ms. Yip.
Ms. Yip.
Madame Lalonde.
Madame Lalonde.
Mr. Pulowski.
Mr. Pulowski.
Mr. Zuberi.
Mr. Zuberi.
Mr. Ailson.
Mr. Ailson.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière-des-Mille.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière-des-Mille.
Mr. Baines.
Mr. Baines.
Mr. Koto.
Mr. Koto.
Mr. Gahir.
Mr. Gahir.
Ms. Hefner.
Miss Hefner.
Madame Lapointe, Sudbury.
Madame Lapointe, Sudbury.
Mr. Sousa.
Mr. Sousa.
Mr. Carr.
Mr. Carr.
Ms. Akan.
Ms. Akun.
Mr. Al Saoud.
Mr. Al Saoud.
Madame Auguste.
Madame Auguste.
Mr. Chang.
Mr. Chang.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Connors.
Mr. Connors.
Madame Dandurand.
Madame Dandurand.
Mr.
Danko.
Danko.
Mr. Danko.
Monsieur Deschênes-Thériault.
Monsieur Deschênes-Thériault.
Mr. Earl.
Mr. Earl.
Ms. Fancy.
Ms. Fancy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Mr. Greaves.
Mr. Greaves.
Ms. Harrison.
Miss Harrison.
Ms. Hurdle.
Miss Hurdle.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Lavoie.
Monsieur Lavoie.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. Millette Bay of Quinte.
Mr. Millette Bay of Quinte.
Ms. Miedema.
Ms. Miedema.
Madame Mingarelli.
Madame Mingarelli.
Ms. Nathan.
Ms. Nathan.
Ms. Wien.
Ms. Wien.
Monsieur Tumba.
Monsieur Tumba.
Ms. O'Rourke.
Ms. O'Rourke.
Mr. Rana.
Mr. Rana.
Ms. Royer.
Ms. Royer.
Mr. Saini.
Mr. Saini.
Monsieur Sari.
Monsieur Sari.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Ms. Sodi.
Ms. Sodi.
Monsieur Saint-Pierre.
Monsieur Saint-Pierre.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Strahl.
Mr. Strahl.
Mr. Doherty.
Mr. Doherty.
Mr. Schmale.
Mr. Schmale.
Mr. Brock.
Mr. Brock.
Mr. Bazan.
Mr. Bazan.
Mrs. Thomas.
Mrs. Thomas.
Ms. Dancho.
Ms. Dancho.
Mr. Chong.
Mr. Chong.
Mrs. Kuzi.
Mrs. Kuzi.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Mr. Barlow.
Mr. Barlow.
Mr. Seaback.
Mr. Seaback.
Mr. Barrett.
Mr. Barrett.
Mr. Albus.
Mr. Albus.
Monsieur d'Entremont.
Monsieur d'Entremont.
Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Small.
Mr. Small.
Mr. Mazur.
Mr. Major.
Mr. Zimmer.
Mr. Zimmer.
Mr. Jennis.
Mr. Jennis.
Monsieur Brassard.
Monsieur Brassard.
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Moore.
Monsieur Berthold.
Monsieur Berthold.
Mrs. Cramp-Nyman.
Mrs. Cramp-Nyman.
Mr. Canna.
Mr. Canna.
Mrs. Roberts.
Mrs. Roberts.
Mr. Morin.
Mr. Morin.
Mr. Ross.
Mr. Ross.
Madame Vien.
Madame Vien.
Monsieur Martel.
Monsieur Martel.
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Caputo.
Mr. Caputo.
Mr. Van Popta.
Mr. Van Popta.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly.
Monsieur Généreux.
Monsieur Généreux.
Monsieur Mallette, Kapuskasing, Timmins, Mushkegowuk.
Monsieur Mallette, Kapuskasing, Timmins, Mushkegowuk.
Monsieur Lefebvre.
Monsieur Lefebvre.
Mr. Steinley.
Mr. Steinley.
Mr. Viss.
Mr. Viss.
Mr. Lobb.
Mr. Lobb.
Mr. Baldinelli.
Mr. Baldinelli.
Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Davidson.
Correction. Mr. Davidson.
Mr. Davidson.
Ms. Gladue.
Ms. Gladue.
Mr. Calkins.
Mr. Calkins.
Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Bragdon.
Mr. Bragdon.
Mr. Tucker.
Mr. Tucker.
Ms. Rude.
Ms. Rude.
Mrs. Goodridge.
Mrs. Goodridge.
Mrs. Falk, Battleford Lloydminster Meadow Lake.
Mrs. Falk, Battleford Lloydminster Meadow Lake.
Mr. Malillo.
Mr. Malillo.
Mr. Muse.
Mr. Muse.
Mr. Shipley.
Mr. Shipley.
Mr. Tolmie.
Mr. Tolmie.
Mr. Redicott.
Mr. Redicott.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Arnold.
Mrs. Gallant.
Mrs. Gallant.
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Hoback.
Mr. Hoback.
Mr. Menegakis.
Mr. Menegakis.
Mr. Falk Provencher.
Mr. Falk Provencher.
Mr. Aboutayev.
Mr. Aboutayev.
Mr. Diot.
Mr. Diot.
Mr. Macaulay.
Mr. Macaulay.
Mr. Vierson.
Mr. Vierson.
Mrs. Wagenthal.
Mrs. Wagenthal.
Mr. Motts.
Mr. Motts.
Mr. Dalton.
Mr. Dalton.
Mr. Dowdle.
Mr. Dowdle.
Mr. Epp.
Mr. Epp.
Mrs. Jansen.
Mrs. Jansen.
Mr. Cram.
Mr. Cram.
Mr. Lewis Essex.
Mr. Lewis Essex.
Mr. McLean, Calgary Centre.
Mr. McLean, Calgary Centre.
Mr. Patzer.
Mr. Patzer.
Mr. Leslie.
Mr. Leslie.
Mr. Giovanni.
Mr. Giovanni.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mrs. Anstey.
Mrs. Anstey.
Mr. Owl.
Mr. Owl.
Mr. Babber.
Mr. Babber.
Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Bailey.
Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury Est, Manitoulin, Nickel Belt.
Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury Est, Manitoulin, Nickel Belt.
Mr. Bexty.
Mr. Bexty.
Mr. Bonk.
Mr. Bonk.
Mrs. Borelli.
Mrs. Borelli.
Ms. Cobania.
Ms. Cobania.
Mrs. Cody.
Mrs. Cody.
Mr. Davies, Niagara South.
Mr. Davies, Niagara South.
Mrs. DeRitter.
Mrs. DeRitter.
Mr. Gill, Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Gill, Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Gill, Brampton West.
Mr. Gill, Brampton West.
Mr. Gill, Calgary McKnight.
Mr. Gill, Calgary McKnight.
Mr. Gill, Windsor West.
Mr. Gill, Windsor West.
Mr. Gill, Abbotsford South Langley.
Mr. Gill, Abbotsford South Langley.
Monsieur Groslo.
Monsieur Groslo.
Mr. Kimmich.
Mr. Kimmich.
Mr. Guglielmin.
Mr. Guglielmin.
Mr. Gunn.
Mr. Gunn.
Monsieur Hardy.
Mr. Hardy.
Mr. Holman.
Mr. Holman.
Mr. Kibble.
Mr. Kibble.
Ms. Kirkland.
Ms. Kirkland.
Mrs. Conans.
Mrs. Conans.
Ms. Cronus.
Mrs. Cronus.
Mr. Currick, Hamilton East Stony Creek.
Mr. Kirk, Hamilton East Stony Creek.
Mr. Lawton.
Mr. Lawton.
Mr. Ma.
Mr. Ma.
Mr. Mantle.
Mr. Mantle.
Mr. Mackenzie.
Mr. Mackenzie.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Strauss.
Mr. Strauss.
La Chambre attendra.
The House will now wait for the electronic voting period to end before resuming its proceedings.
So what, 22 yay, overwhelming nay? Like, just a sweeping nays? Quebec, every time you ask for more money, it just makes you look silly. I don't think they understand that. And what's the point in putting forward a bill if you haven't consulted with other parties, especially the Conservatives and NDP, as being the bloc? You would need both of those parties in order to pass your bill. If you haven't consulted with those parties, what's the point in even putting the bill forward? It's just a waste of time. So, yeah, what, 22 yay? 290 something nay?
Ended. If members were not able to vote due to technical difficulties, they may now use the raise hand function,
310.
and the chair will recognize them.
The Honourable Member for Vancouver East.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My app wasn't working properly, and I vote yay.
Oh, NDP voted yay.
Yay pour.
And Mr. Dhaliwal.
The Honourable Mr. Dhaliwal.
Mr. Speaker, I will be voting against.
Mr. Dhaliwal, nay contre.
Mr. Davies.
Mr. Davies.
Oh, he just voted against his own party.
Thank you. A point of order, Mr. Speaker. My app also wasn't working. I vote yes.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway, yay pour.
Le bureau.
The table will now compile the results of the vote.
NDP didn't pay the bills. Yeas pour 30-30, nays contre 310, 310.
310.
I declare the amendment defeated.
La prochaine mise.
The next
30 to
question is on the
310.
main motion.
It was a 10 times
The
no.
question is as follows.
That's
Ms.
crazy.
Normandin, seconded by Mr. May I dispense? No.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I'm going to go ahead and get some clips out on the channel, and we'll be live again tomorrow for question period. But yeah, that's pretty much all the House had to offer today in terms of, I mean, they're only sitting for 5 hours today, but question period on Thursdays is usually pretty much it. Fridays question period on Wednesdays is pretty much it. Thursdays, like tomorrow, we'll be live for question period, and then Friday we're not live. So I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and appreciate all you guys tuning in. I haven't said this probably in a while as well. Thank you, mods. Thanks, Data. Thanks, Suzanne. I don't think David's in here, but, you know, shout out to the mods once in a while, guys. They help us with the chat and things like that. So anyways, tomorrow, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a good rest of your evening, good rest of your day, and cheers.